Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Kelly's Coffee and Crime Chat. I am a little late, but with this week's, it was supposed to be last week's episode, we had a tragedy that happened, and one of our friends who we've known for, at least I've known for just over 20 years, got killed in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. So it's been a grieving time right now, but I'm finally back. Okay. And I'm going to have this up on my Patreon early, and then it will drop on Friday. It is Wednesday, the 16th of July. We're in the middle of July already, and I know my Patreons, I got to get on the next bonus episode. And I think I know what I'm going to do. I just have to pick what one I want for the Patreon episode. So anyway, I'm not drinking Java Mama right now because it is in the afternoon. I sweat and worked at the animal shelter today and got all those little baby kittens cleaned up, and we had an adoption today, an adoption yesterday of a couple of our dogs. So it was very, very, very happy to be there the last couple days. So it's a very rewarding part-time job, and I'm so happy that I'm there. So I am drinking my Body Armor. I need my electrolytes. My Body Armor is very, very good if you have not tried it. And that's what I'm drinking. So this is a case I've been wanting to do for a while. I remember when it happened, but I did not know the details of it. So, or how it ended up, but I wanted to do it. So I finally got on and was digging up some information on it. There's not a lot of information out there. And, this is the story of Dustin Englebrecht. And, I'm going to tell you, like I said, I remember when this happened. My sources are Peoria Journal-Star, Pekin Daily Times, and Illinois Cold Cases, which is a page on Facebook. Highly recommended. It is a very interesting what you find on there. Dustin Englebrecht was from Pekin, Illinois. He was born August 12th of 1982. He had a father, Randy, and his mother was named Cheryl. Now, in 2009, and this was August 28th, this was the last day 27-year-old Dustin was seen. He lived with the mother of his son, and her name was Stephanie Hendricks. And this was in Mason City. It's very rural. It is between Peoria and Springfield when you look at the map. So it's 40 miles southwest of Peoria. And Peoria and Pekin are close, really, really close. Just Pekin is across the Illinois River from Peoria. So after he was reported missing, officers found spatters of blood near a barn on Dustin's property. Volunteers and officers searched on horseback in the area of Mason, Tazewell County, which is where Pekin is, and Logan County. And Dustin's story was all over the news, internet. There were flyers. It was everywhere because they were trying to find him. And his cousin named Randy Deskin was 34. He was from Green Valley. Again, Green Valley is in this, it's, I don't want to say next to, but it's over in the Pekin area. So if you were to leave Pekin, and you would go toward Green Valley. It is still over on the other side of the Illinois River from Peoria. So it's in Tazewell County. But Randy Deskin was from Green Valley, and he stayed over at Dustin's house. Now, remember, they lived in Mason City, so I don't want everybody to get confused on the towns. Dustin is from Pekin, but lived in Mason City, which is about 40 miles away. So Randy, his cousin, Randy Deskin, stayed over there at his house all night on the night of August 28th. And he told investigators that Dustin left to do chores the next morning. Now, chores, it's a farming community. So he left to do chores the next morning, and he never returned. On September 7th, Dustin's uncle went back out to search more for Dustin on his property, just in case there was something that, missed. When something is eating at you and you're like, I've got to go check. So maybe something was missed. Maybe I can find something. He just happened to notice an area on the ground behind an outbuilding. I've read an outbuilding, and another source said it was a barn, but it was an outbuilding. And the spot had hay, that there was like hay on the ground, and it looked like it was covering something. So he kind of got suspicious of it, and as it appeared that someone, like I said, tried to cover something, he started digging, and he found a cell phone next to a plastic bag. He opened the bag and found a leg, and that is when he called police. They found Dustin Englebrecht. He had been buried with a baseball bat. Now, as you can guess, he had been killed by blunt force trauma to the head. He was pronounced dead at 6:50 p.m. on September 7th, 2009. I don't know what would have happened if his uncle would have went out there that night and just happened to notice that hay on the ground looking suspicious. It really makes me think that who knows if Dustin would have been found, at least that fast. I don't know if he would have been found that fast. As the investigation went on, they talked to Dustin's live-in girlfriend, Stephanie. She told them that Dustin and Randy Duskin had once gotten into a confrontation from Randy not paying off a drug debt that he owed to Dustin. But then they put it behind him and reconciled, and Randy was Dustin's role model. Dustin looked up to him. I don't know why. I'm not sure, but that's what his girlfriend had mentioned to the police. And from Stephanie, this also came from Stephanie, Randy Duskin when he stayed overnight, Dustin fronted Randy. And fronted, which is, I don't know how to explain it. Like when someone pays for something for you and you pay him back. It's like, I'll front you, So Dustin fronted Randy an ounce or two of marijuana that Randy was paying off by cleaning up his property. So Randy was cleaning up the property. There was some anniversary party going on the following night, and Randy was cleaning it up for Dustin because he fronted him for the ounce or two of marijuana. And that's what he was doing. That's how he was paying him back. So Randy also washed his bloody clothes that night of August 28th, 2009. Randy took Dustin and Stephanie's son. Randy took Dustin and Stephanie's son. So how I'm saying that is both of their sons. He didn't take Dustin. That's how it sounds. But he took their son out fishing the next day, and their son confirmed that he did take him fishing, and it was after he got home from school. So there's plenty of time in that day. So he took him fishing, and the boy also confirmed that Randy did stay all night with them, and he stayed in the basement of the house. So Randy was arrested and charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder for the murder of Dustin while he was serving time at a correctional center in Joliet. Now, he was arrested while he was in Joliet, Illinois, serving time on a battery charge. And that's something that happened at a Pekin bar. I never heard about this. Now, I know a lot of Pekin. When this happened, I knew a lot of bars. So I knew a lot of bars in the Pekin area because we went there. We went to Pekin all the time. And I'm not sure exactly which one it was, but I do not remember hearing this. Now, he was coming up on parole for this charge when they arrested him. Stephanie Hendricks worked with police to try to get him to confess because those two were romantic at one time. So she was now she said they never had an affair, but there was something going on between them, according to the evidence. And I think that that was a little bit of conflict between the two guys. Now, they had letters in writing because she wrote him while he was locked up in Joliet. And the content of the letters were not disclosed to the public, so I couldn't find out what all they said. But he actually They never said that he actually confessed in the letters to Stephanie. I'm thinking if he would have, I would have thought that would have came out in the trial, but they said that they never did say. During the trial, so I'm thinking he didn't, but during the trial in 2011, the defense pointed out that the crime scene was not cleared off right away since they didn't know there was a crime scene on Dustin's property. So it could have been messed with. People could have walked through because they didn't know where he was. So they didn't realize that that was a crime scene. So it wasn't roped off. And Dustin was just missing at that time. And there was no proof that the bat was the actual weapon. So they must not have found any blood or DNA on the bat. I never heard anything about the weapon. Like, the bat was buried with him. And there had to have been something on that bat. I would think it was, I don't know what kind of bat it was. It could have been a metal one. I don't even want to think about that. But, you know, it could have been, I'm picturing in myself like a wood bat. But this could have been one that was, maybe he cleaned off when he buried him. They also pointed out that Dustin could have been killed by someone else, then brought to his property and buried days later. I find that a little hard to believe because usually it seems like when I hear, true crime cases, people are usually killed. If they're killed elsewhere, they're dumped in a whole other area. They don't bring them back to their house. I've never heard that before. But believe it or not, Randy Dustin was acquitted of Dustin Englebrecht's murder. Now, many people in the area were outraged, and Dustin's father outside the courthouse said, quote, "They let a killer go free." I could not believe this when I read this because I didn't know that the person who did it was acquitted. This case reminded authorities of another murder in 1995, that Randy Dustin was a person of interest, along with two other guys. It was the murder of 18-year-old Ritchie Neavear, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, Neavear. Ritchie was last seen alive on June 30th of 1995 at a friend's house, and his friend was named Craig Beanie. 4 people were there at the house, and they were getting ready to watch a movie. And I'm thinking it was VHS, because back at the time, that's what we had. And Ritchie left the house to go meet someone a few blocks away and told them, "Do not start the movie until he got back. I don't know who these friends were he was supposed to meet. I don't know if he told them. But he never came back. He wasn't reported missing until July 4th, which was 4 days later, because his family thought he was just staying with friends. July 4th was the day he was supposed to pick up his paycheck at Burger King, but he never showed up. And that's when they knew something was wrong. A week and a half later, a contractor was spreading gravel behind a shed on the Wilson School property when he found the rapidly decomposed body of Ritchie. And this was due to the hot July temperature, because he was decomposing really fast. He died of multiple stab wounds. This case is still unsolved, as Randy Dustin, along with other suspects, were not charged for this. So if anybody has any information about this case of Ritchie Neavear, Neavear, please call your local police department, Pekin, Peoria. I did not write down the number, but I will put it in the show notes, because this is something that, went unsolved since 1995. And I know we have a lot of cold cases out there. This is very sad, especially when the guy who, Ritchie, told the people at the party, or at the house, I say party, but at his friend's house, he was going to go meet somebody. And I'm sure the police questioned them. And I'm wondering if this is where Randy and the other guys became people of interest on the case. At some point within the next year, Randy Dustin, now we're caught up, I'm going back to Dustin's murder, after his trial, after he's acquitted. And some point within the next year, the following year, after he's acquitted, Randy Dustin told his cousin Gary Price that he beat Dustin Englebrecht to death as he begged for his life. He told him this because he was having bad dreams and he kept seeing Dustin and hearing his screams. Well, that's what happens, you know. I don't feel sorry for him. And they were so bad that he couldn't sleep. He would wake up because he would hear Dustin screaming. Randy Dustin and his family were watching a TV show where many people hung themselves at the beginning of the show. And this was in the evening. It must have been like a series, I'm thinking, on TV. Well, Dustin told the others, his family, that he was going to go take a walk to a store, which was nearby, I'm guessing down the road, and he never returned. His mother reported him missing hours later. A deputy found Randy Dustin hanging from a tree by the railroad tracks a mile north of Green Valley. Now, his mother was shocked they ruled this a suicide. Now, we all believe it's a suicide, but his family, there are some people who think, and I'm guessing, you know, his family members, some of them, I don't know if all of them think this, that he was killed by somebody, but no, he was, this is why he confessed to his cousin Gary Price, and then he did this. He could not stop the nightmares. You know what? You shouldn't have killed your cousin. This was his cousin he killed, Dustin Englebrecht. That was his cousin. And Dustin's mother and his father, I'm pretty sure both of them, I'm not positive on this, but I know his mother thinks that other people were involved in Dustin's murder, and I can see why. I can see why. I think there was more to it, and Randy Dustin he just couldn't, I don't know if he just couldn't live with the fact that there was more people involved and he couldn't tell everything, but he did tell his cousin that he beat him to death with the baseball bat. So he did confess to his cousin at least, but I don't know. Well, he was already acquitted, so there's nothing you can do. He could have confessed to everybody, and there's nothing you can do because double jeopardy laws. But his cousin, I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure how soon he confessed to when he hung himself. I just read it was before that. This case was very big in my area, very, very big, as people searched for Dustin. And then this other case came out about Ritchie. And again, if anybody has any information, please, I will have the number in the show notes about Ritchie Neavear, because I believe Dustin's case is solved. Now, some people think it is unsolved because Randy was acquitted, but, you know, I mean, I'm 100% sure Randy Dustin was the one who killed him. And if anybody else was, I can understand people wanting to, or people thinking that there were other people involved. I'm not sure about that, but Ritchie's case is still unsolved. So that is the story of Dustin Englebrecht and the case of Ritchie Neavear. Very sad, horrible, horrible. I can't stand to see people go free. That's what I do not like. And I'm sure Randy Dustin I would think, was guilty of murder even before Dustin's. I don't know. I just don't see how this is the first murder that he committed. I just don't. So that is your case for today. I'm going to have this up for my Patreon, and then Friday it will drop the, what is Friday, the 19th? I don't have my calendar changed. The 18th. Friday the 18th. So it will drop on all platforms. Thank you for all of your support, for following me. I did watch Netflix yesterday, that series Trainwreck. I think I talked about this before with the poop cruise and Woodstock 99 and all that. They have Balloon Boy on there now. Balloon Boy. And I remember when this happened and everyone's, oh, the kid's in the, the balloon, he's in the balloon. And, of course we all believed it. We really thought he was. But I'm going to tell you what, if you haven't watched it, I don't want to give it away, but I can't believe how the parents are acting even now. Because if you watch the video, and they'll show it on there, they show the footage of after this balloon, which they called a UFO, took off on its own. It was full of helium. And you can tell the way they're reacting. The dad is reacting. It is so bad acting. Like, where'd he go? Where is he? I'm talking, I could have done a better job acting. I am sorry. And I am not a professional actor at all. But I'm like, that is bad. And it was a hoax. That whole thing was a hoax. I know it was. I mean, there's no way that this was not a hoax. But anyway, just like, very, very interesting. That's a good series on Netflix. I'm trying to think. I did start Dexter Resurrection. Very good so far. It is different. It's different with the son in there, but man, it's good. So I can't wait for the next episode. I think in a couple days is the third. Well, they had both the first two on together, so I'm hoping the third one is this week, and we don't have to wait another week. But that was very good. I've got Showtime. I've got Paramount Plus with Showtime, and we had a free Showtime last weekend, and I'm thinking it was because of Dexter, because they showed all the Dexters and then Dexter Resurrection, the first two episodes. It gets people hooked, and then they'll order Showtime. But anyway, since we already have it, I'm trying to think if there was anything else I was going to talk about that I have watched, but so far I think that was about it since my last, trying to think if I had anything else to recommend for anything. But if anybody has any suggestions for cases, please let me know, especially these ones like Ritchie that's unsolved. I would love to present those on here. Even if they are out of the Midwest, I still talk about cases that need attention. And that's what I like. That is really what I like to do. So if anybody has any suggestions, please let me know. Again, my Patreon is $5. You can listen to all of the episodes on it now. I've had that Patreon for going on 2 years, and I do most months I do 3 bonus episodes. And the crimes that I do on there are from anywhere. It's not just for Midwest crimes; they're for anywhere. I like to do crimes that movies are based on. So I did the murder with River's Edge. The movie. I did that true story. I did At Close Range. I did that true story. The Bruce Johnston gang, that's who that was. I've done Bob Crane, Hogan's Heroes, many different, and I like old time. And a lot of the old time murders that I find on there, or crimes I should say, a lot of them from in California. It just seems like, and I've done some here in the Midwest, but I like those old time cases because they're very, very hard to solve. And a lot of times the people got away with it because they don't have the DNA. They don't have the things they do nowadays. So it's very interesting. So if you want to follow me on Patreon, you will get a whole bunch more content and a lot of different cases on there. So thank you for all your support. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your week, and I will try to be back. I usually try to do an episode every 2 weeks. So we will try to, this time it was 3 weeks, but we will try to do every 2 weeks. I don't have very many listeners, but I still like to keep my goal of uploading an episode every 2 weeks. So have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you next time.